Good morning to everyone. This morning, it's a real pleasure for me to present you Peter Beyer. He is member of the German Bundestag, a spokesperson, Inquiry Committee on Afghanistan, and he was transatlantic coordinator of the federal government from 2018 to 2022. Currently, he is member of the Interparliamentary Conference, a member of the Interparliamentary Union, and of course, he is a member of the CDU, the Christian Democratic Union in Europe. So, Peter, welcome to Ecuador.
Thank you for having me. I'm super happy to be here.
Yeah, it's your first time here, no?
It's my very first time to Ecuador. I'm enjoying my time here.
So, to know you better, please tell us what motivated you to enter politics and what have been the most important milestones in your career?
Not such an easy question. I have to go back in my memory. What motivated to get into politics? I am a lawyer by training, and I first started a legal career in law firms in the United States and in Germany, but I was always very much interested in what's going on in the world.
Yeah.
So I always had an international focus, but also obviously as well what's going on in my country. I was not the most favorite student at high school of my politics teacher, but so there was a lot of interest. So finally, opportunity came along, and I was asked. I started my political career on a municipality level in a town council for 4 years before opportunity came along to, be a candidate for run on a national level for the national parliament. And I was successful, and that was good. The milestone things is really a tricky one because there's not within like 15 years of having been member of the Bundestag in Berlin, there's not that one single thing that I would say that is the milestone. But I could say as much as there's in my constituency, which is in North Rhine-Westphalia, close to Düsseldorf, in the western part of Germany. There's a small piece of autobahn, of highway, 9.4 kilometers, that should have been built already over 50 years ago. I'm now 53 years old, and it should have been started to being built when I was born.
Yeah.
And it's still not completed. This is something that I take a lot of effort in, and I hope within the next 3-4 years that I could do the ribbon cutting, and that is something that takes up a lot of my time. Wow. That is really something that I would identify as a milestone if I get there.
Wow, a pretty amazing political and professional career, undoubtedly. So I'm pretty sure that you have been an inspiration for young people, for example. And what do you consider to be the greatest challenges facing young people currently in political arena? And how can current policy effectively address this kind of challenges?
Very good question. Also not a very easy answer to that because it might vary from country to country. So now from my German perspective, in Germany, biggest challenge for young people is try to convince the elder ones who have been around for quite some while, because they tend to stay in place. They have been for 20 years in that position, in the town council, in the parliament, or everywhere. They don't usually voluntarily go away. There's what I see is there's also always this struggle of between the generations. I would not say conflict, but a vivid and vital communication. So don't accept that other people who are older than you think you're unexperienced, you don't have your life experience, work experience. Yes, that might be true, but when they started, they were in the same situation. So be persistent, and believe in your beliefs. Be responsible, and I think that is a very good recipe, if you so will, to be successful.
Yeah, that's a pretty good message, obviously, to our young people here in Ecuador especially. And what has been one of the main objectives of your visit here to our country, and what has been your impression till now?
Ecuador, again, I'm first-time visitor.
Yeah.
And I'm doing a lot of meetings. Speaking of objective, get a better understanding of what are the needs and interests of your people here, of Ecuadorians. And also I try to identify where there could be mutual interests.
Okay.
And one of the things that I already learned is that security
Yes.
is really seems to be like paramount. It
Yes.
appears in all of the discussion that I'm having, and all the people that I'm meeting here are bringing this up. Security, the cartels, the violence,
Yeah.
the murders, narco trafficking. And we are in a region and in Ecuador, in a country, in a beautiful country with super nice and proud people that I have the pleasure to meet here. You as a more, not so much as a cocaine producing, but transit country, the thing that goes through a country comes to the consumers over in Europe. And we even surpassed the United States as a consumer market for this poison, the cocaine. So we have a mutual interest to bring these violence and bring this business model down of the narco cartels.
Yeah.
And that is something that I think we should explore and could explore much more. There's a lot of potential where you could join forces and work efficiently against these bastards.
Yeah, we are getting on point, and we think that international cooperation is really necessary to strengthen our security access here in the country. So, Peter, Germany has played a crucial role in the European Union and on the international stage. What are your priorities in terms of foreign policy and international relations?
Yes, very good questions. There has been changes over the year, and some things that are continuations. In international politics, as a European and as a German, the transatlantic relations, the friendship and partnership with the United States of America is existential for us, for our sheer existence. The Americans were the guarantor for the past 5 or 6 decades for our security with their nuclear sharing. They're protecting us from the nuclear warheads that the Russians are targeting to Germany. That is something that is vital. So transatlantic relations in a new context, because we have learned, because of what's going on in Europe with the war of aggression of Russia against Ukraine, which is very close to us. It's really just 1.5, 2 hours flight time away from us. Hitting us with our security interests very much. And we need to understand that we, as Europeans and as Germans, need to invest much more in our own security interests. And so this is something, then migration on a global scale. A lot of migrants from Africa, but from also some Arabian countries, trying to come to us, to Europe. We need to deal with this situation. And then we want to decrease our dependencies from China, for example. And we are looking for new partners, old partners, but bringing that to a new level. And then we look to Latin America, to Ecuador, for example, to Brazil, to Argentina, countries with which we share a lot of interest, values. And we try to identify and explore mutual interest for the benefit of both of our countries. So transatlantic, Europe, China, Asia, Africa, and Latin America. Latin America is new partners, reinvigorated partners.
So, as a former coordinator of transatlantic cooperation, how do you see the current state of German-U.S. relations? Which areas require the most attention, for example?
Yes, I indicated this a little bit in my answer to the last question. There are changes, like everywhere in the world. Change is not something that is new, and change is not a bad thing. We have experienced in the term of U.S. President Donald Trump back then, a lot of pressure and tensions in the German-U.S. relationship. Although President Trump, his ancestors, so his grandparents, came from Germany, so he's like more or less a German guy. He somehow was not satisfied with Germany, did a lot of Germany bashing. And and there's some chance that he might come back to the Oval Office again. I think that's going to happen, in my humble opinion. But regardless of who is the current occupant of the Oval Office in Washington, D.C., the bonds and the friendship between Germany and U.S. cannot be destroyed or shattered. The Americans need us when it comes to trade and economy. And we need them, as I indicated earlier, as a guarantor for our security, but also for our businesses, and also coming back to the youngsters. When I grew up, I was born in 1970. I really grew up in the 1980s, and I was lucky enough back then that I had the chance to visit the United States quite a lot of times.
Yeah.
And ever since, the United States changed, polarization of the nation, but we are very close to each other, and there's a lot of opportunities for young people also still in the United States of America. So I think we should not only focus on any single country in the world, be it in North or South America or elsewhere in the world. We need alliances and partners everywhere, and for the foreseeable future, I hope that the Americans will remain our closest allies outside of Europe.
Okay, that's fantastic. And the next question will be, what proposals does the CDU have for improving the education system and providing more opportunities for young people?
Yes, good question. The education, you have to understand, is a federal system of Germany is almost completely up in the competence of the Länder, of our provinces. So from looking from the federal level, where I'm in the national parliament, we do not have so much to do with curricula in the schools throughout Germany, but also we have, but certainly we have not only interest, but we're giving a lot of money from financing a lot of education from the national level. And also there's a ministry that deals with sciences and education altogether. So playing a role in giving a framework. CDU has, there's, I think, not a single concept, a CDU concept when it comes to education for young people. Again, there are different CDUs on the Länder, on the provincial level, facing different challenges and giving different offers, but obviously also across the provinces' borders of throughout Germany, they have a communication, and like in other parts of the world, the COVID pandemic, put the educational system to a test. We were in power then on the national level and in many other provinces throughout Germany, and we have to admit in hindsight that we made a lot of mistakes, basically closing schools for 1 year or so, and that is something that we know, because the next pandemic will is around the corner, and that is something that we should not do again, because we did a lot of bad things to the young people, and we should understand that we should not do that again. So education is key for people, for young people. They have a lot of opportunities in my country, but we should not forget them when they are in dire straits.
Okay, so finally, our last question. How do you see the future of the European Union, and what reforms do you consider necessary to strengthen the cohesion and effectiveness of the European Union?
Yes, great question. We just recently, at the beginning of June, we had elections to the European Parliament with a lot of changes in the European Parliament. Good thing is the conservative political forces organized under the European People's Party, where the CDU is a member of, has gained even a little bit, but we still see a lot of very right extremist parties also in the parliament now. So this will remain to be seen. What challenges will this cause? New composition of the European Parliament, new personnel in the EU Commission. Greatest challenges for the EU as it is now is not so much like in the past EU enlargement, but is migration, especially from countries like Syria and Afghanistan, but more so in the future from the continent of Africa, which is very close to us. That is the largest challenge. And then reform of the internal structures of the European Union. Speaking of majority and unanimous votes, we have so many mandatory unanimous votes, which a single country with national interest can block the progress of the whole European Union, and we need to change that. So reform of the internal structures of the European Union is also a big challenge. I think everyone understands it, and my hope is that over the next 3-4 years we can move to the better side here.
Okay, this has been the interview with Peter Beyer, but to end up, I will like to ask you for a message to our cast community.
Thank you very much, Veronica. I enjoyed it very much. Thanks, and Viva Ecuador!
Viva Ecuador! Thank you to everyone. And please follow us in our social media in YouTube, Cas Ecuador, Spotify with Cas Ecuador, and in our Instagram account.